New London, Connecticut. Rob, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Thanks for taking my call, Michael. I'm a funeral director, and even though I make a living from expensive funerals, I think burial is a huge waste of money and a huge waste of land. Most people don't realize it's based on the idea that we're all going to come back with our original bodies, which is why early Christians wanted to keep their bodies intact. From the time of Constantine around 400 A.D. to the 1700s, high-ranking Christians always wanted to be buried in churches inside the city walls, and public health officials were always fighting it. The churches must have smelled terrible with all those rotting corpses. I think the pre-Christians were right about a lot of things like bathing and cremation and not, believing in original sin and guilt and all that. So that's my comment, Michael.
So in other words, you think we should disinter all the heroes at Arlington National Cemetery and what? Turn the grave sites over to condos for legal aliens?
Well, I think it would free their souls.
We should take your logic and carry it to the next step. All Orthodox Jews should be arrested for being buried, right? And all of their ancestral rabbis should be disinterred and cremated in order to make way for the next wave.
Your soul gets stuck.
Should burial be illegal? Should it become illegal under Obama? Is that what you're saying, Rob?
No, I just think it's dumb. I think your soul gets trapped in the earth. Cremation releases your soul.
But that's your belief. You're entitled to your belief. But how about the dummies who believe that they like to be buried? They should all listen to you?
If they don't want their soul to be trapped after they die, yeah, because I'm right.
Well, of course you're right, because you voted for Obama. He's right about everything, too.
I voted for Ron Paul.
Well, that's even crazier. I understand that. You may as well vote for the people in the Green Hornet coming in from the next planet.
Well, I agree with a lot.
All right, so you want to be cremated when you die?
What's that?
You want to be cremated when you die?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you believe that? Do you believe, therefore, that all people should be cremated?
I think they should be educated as to their options and understand the origins of the belief in burial. Is that it's
all right? Well, let's carry it to the next step. Should people be forced to be euthanized at a certain age because they're being kept alive and they're no longer useful, and it's kind of a myth to live to a ripe old age? What age would you say people should be euthanized by the Obama administration? 60, 67, 70?
Choice. They should. I think Dr. Kevorkian is a great humanitarian, and I agree with him.
I think Hitler was a predecessor of Dr. Kevorkian. Hitler did a service for humanity. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, you're playing the Hitler card, Michael. That's...
Well, it's not a Hitler card. He euthanized an entire race. He considered them to be parasites like you are, saying people who want to be buried are fools. You're saying people who are old should be euthanized. So you're playing the Hitler card. You don't even realize how far you've fallen.
No. All right. If you want to play the Hitler card, why did they change the signs at Auschwitz from 4 million to 1 million? And why do you still say 6 million?
Ah, you are a Holocaust denier. I knew it.
Well, you brought it up.
So who was it in your family who indoctrinated you in Nazism, Dad or Mom?
What are you calling me a Nazi for?
Well, I'm asking you, who in the family was the one who indoctrinated you in the way of the Third Reich? Was it Dad or Mom?
Well,
yeah. Typically liberal laugh whenever you get trapped. So who was it? Grandpa? Was it Grandpa who wore the uniform? Which one? Who had the revolving fireplace in your childhood home with all of the memorabilia? So you believe in euthanasia, you believe in no burial, you believe in everything that the New World Order socialists would believe in. How do you differ from the socialists of the 1930s?
I'm definitely.
And how far a step do you think it is from believing in euthanasia for the elderly who are sick into enforcing euthanasia upon people whether they want it or not? How far a step do you think that is?
Well, Michael, the economy's contracting. We're going to have to make difficult choices.
Yes, of course. Well, will you be the first to volunteer?
No, sir.
Well, you just said the economy's contracting. It's not contracting for me, so I don't need to make that choice. Maybe you do. So you should the unemployed be euthanized as well, since they're a waste?
I wouldn't. You know what? I think it's going to be a matter of population attrition because we're going into relentless economic contraction. If you know.
That's right. And while the stupid grandparents who we had worked through that depression by eating less and by getting on bread lines, you would think the next step, of course, would be euthanasia for millions because they're useless. The
Great Depression was different conditions because we didn't have a contracting oil supply. Now
you're changing the argument. What does oil have to do with the Great Depression of today? What does it have to do with the 1920s? You're just too lazy to understand that you have to do with less. You're not really in the funeral business, are you?
Yes.
You really are. And so you're going through a contraction now, is that it?
Economic contraction? Oh, absolutely. I mean, the people can't pay for these $10,000, fancy Cadillac funerals, and a lot of people are just going for direct cremation. You go pick up the body.
Are you in that field as well? Do you offer that as a sideline?
Cremation? Yeah. Well, it depends on the family.
And how much is your service for burial as opposed to cremation?
Well, a burial can go from anywhere from $4,000, and up, but a direct cremation is about $1,800. So
and do you offer? And what if they want a little necrophilia on the side? How much? Well, it shouldn't stop you though. I mean, some of the other things you've suggested, such as euthanasia, are crimes in my mind, but that wouldn't stop you and the people from Oregon.
Well, euthanasia is...
People in your field have a morbid sense of humor. Do you play with the corpses in any way? Do you, roll their heads around, things like that nature?
Absolutely not. That would be unprofessional, and that's a very inappropriate question, Dr. Savage.
Well, I don't care whether it's inappropriate. You answered it, though, didn't you? How come you answered it if it's inappropriate?
It's immature.
Oh! Now you're going to judge my maturity. You're sitting here telling me I should go along with euthanasia, and I'm the immature one.
Well, it all began with cremation, and then you became rather...
And where?
No, I did a degree in mortuary science from Briarwood College in Southington, Connecticut.
Wow, that must have been very exciting. And what is there, one professor who teaches that with no oversight?
Why are you making fun of it? I mean, the funeral
mortuary science. What kind of rubbish is that, mortuary science? What do you mean mortuary science? What kind of science is there? Everything's science. Al Gore has science, too. We know how much that's worth. We had Al Gore to go to school in climatology. Where did he get his degree in climatology? The same place you got your degree in mortuary science. From Southern, Connecticut mortuary school.
Yeah, it's in Southington, Connecticut. It's a great field.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a great... What, you just said it's a dying field. Now it's a great field?
It's dying. It's a very fulfilling line of work, but it is economically contracting.
What is fulfilling about mortuary science?
Well, you deal with bereaved families, grieving families, and
So you're an expert on bereavement. You know how to make them feel better. What do you give them? The balloons and the little dolls, the little stuffed animals. Is that it?
No, but I mean, I did take a course in death and dying. And the.
Oh, you're an expert on death and dying, then. I bet you read Kubler-Ross's book too.
Yeah, Kubler-Ross, right.
Yeah, you didn't think old Doc Savage knew about Kubler-Ross, huh? What else did you read there in Mortuary Science 101?
Well, we saw Holocaust movies,
and of course they were all made up by the Zionists, right? The Holocaust movies. That was all made up by the U.S. Army. In fact, they were all actors, right? All the soldiers who broke into Auschwitz and actually saw the ovens were actors. Is that correct?
Well, I think Schindler's List was made in black and white so that the dummies would think they were watching actual footage of the Holocaust, don't you? So
you're saying the Holocaust didn't exist. Is that where you're coming from?
Well, no, but I mean, I'm wondering how come the story the story keeps changing. From 4 million on the Auschwitz gate to 1
I don't know. I think you ought to go to a nearby synagogue and tell the Jews they're liars, that there wasn't a Holocaust. Since you know so much from your studies in mortuary science, apparently you're also an expert in history. Did you take a course in the history of the Holocaust at your School of Mortuary Science?
No, I studied it at...
Oh, you picked that up on the internet under a Nazi site and you became an expert in the Holocaust.
Well, Michael, I was wondering... do you think that Jews on average are exactly as honest as Gentiles on average?
I couldn't answer that. What do you think? Because your question's quite loaded.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's averages. Just as the average man is taller than the average woman, I believe the average Jew is less honest than the average Gentile.
And what do you base that upon? The fact that Jews don't go for your malarkey? So they become dishonest because... they don't believe the lies you tell them? That makes them dishonest?
Well, I mean, look at all the Jews in the financial frauds, like Bernie Madoff.
And, of course, without the Jews in the financial sector, you wouldn't be able to make a living, would you? You wouldn't even have $1. You'd be trading mortuary science for a bushel of wheat. You wouldn't have a financial system was it not for the geniuses in the financial sector.
I think we'd
But to you, they're all crooks because there's so many Jews in the financial sector, right?
Well, a lot of them are crooks, indeed. I think on average.
But wait, did you pick that up on the side, or was that one of your required courses in the School of Morticians in Southern Connecticut? The Nazi who they also teach you about the Jews in that school?
No, the School of Life has taught me about the Jews, Michael.
The School of Life. Oh, so you were born a Nazi. You were indoctrinated as a mortician. So it goes back again. Was it Dad or was it Mom who first introduced you to the beauties of the Third Reich? You still won't answer the fundamental question.
It was Henry Ford's book, The International Jew, that first opened my eyes.
Ah, it was Henry Ford's book. Another great man. Great man. I'll be right back. Stay on the line. Great.